Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along to our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Maayong hapon, Siliman, and welcome to Siliman University Dr. Mariano Lau Free Computer Education Program. By the way, I am your moderator for this afternoon. I am Grace L. Apaw, and I would like to welcome everyone for today's webinar on a topic, email etiquette. Today, we will be learning how to write better emails, and allow me to introduce our resource speaker for this afternoon. Our resource speaker for this afternoon is a geared and motivated in ICT related research studies, and sorry and he and her interest in research started when she became project assistant of a Silliman University PerNet project, ICT in teacher education in Region 7, benching training, benchmarking training and technology development towards innovative teaching and learning, wherein she co-authored two papers. Aside from research and teaching, she was a Microsoft ambassador in ICT education in 2016 and national trainer of Deep Ed PAYAC Inset for senior high school teachers in 2018. She was education technology department chairperson at College of Computer Studies and currently the information and quality specialist of Silliman Online University Learning. And at the same time, a faculty of College of Computer Studies and College of Education in Silliman University. She is no other than Assistant Professor Alfie Q. Arcelo. Let's give her a virtual round of applause. Ma'am Alfie, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So today or this afternoon, we will be learning more of how to behave appropriately with our emails. Okay, so okay, thank you very much. I will be sharing my screen to everyone. Okay, kindly give me a thumbs up if my screen is already visible. Thank you very much. All right, so once again, good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the first session for the month of April. So this is our first session for the month of April. And today we are going to talk about appropriate behaviors in using our emails. All right, so before we start, let's have some facts about the email. So we are so used to using the email, but when was it actually discovered or created? It was way back 51 years ago. So the first message, it was an unofficial email, was sent via the internet with the message LO for login. It crashed after the second letter was typed, and this happened in 1969. That was not the official email yet. So the email celebrated its golden year last year, which means the first official email was sent in 1971. And as of today, there are already 4.6 billion people who use the email. So many of us. And there are 300 billion emails sent every day. I think more than that. And on average, each person has two emails. So later on, you will have to answer how many you have. And close to 50% of email users open their mail via the smartphone, which means that we are really living the life of mobile technology. So we could actually access our emails through our own smartphones. What a journey it has been for the email. But lo and behold, we are here because we are still curious as to how to appropriately deal with the email, no? So without further ado, okay, let me all right. So this is survey time. So everyone, you could just let us have some appetizers. I know it's post lunch, but we will have our own set of um, lunch maybe. But we will have our appetizers by answering the 3 questions. So you can submit your answers on the screen. A small screen will pop up later on as we go along. All right. So the first question is how many, all right, so we have our first question. How many times do you access your emails? That's a very easy question. How many times do you access your email? Is it every day? Is it weekdays? Or maybe work days for those who are working and school days for those who are in school, no? Or maybe if you don't have so many transactions using your email, you just open it once or twice a week. Or if you never really use your email, then you just open it once in a blue moon. So maybe like once every 6 months. All right. Okay. So are we getting other answers? All right. We have more. So maybe the others could still answer. Okay. So far, this goes to show that, okay, so let's stop sharing this one. And we will share the results. So the results show, okay, that most of us still access our emails every day. So that means even during weekends, most of us still access our emails. And there's like one who just access it during the weekdays, which is a very good practice because that would mean he or she will have a break from work with the email, or yes, break from the hassles of using the email. And of course, one also just opens it once in a blue moon, maybe for very, very important transactions. All right, so let us have our second question. Okay, so our second question is, all right. So earlier we knew that there are like on average, each person has like 2 emails. So how many do you have? Do you have more than that? Okay, so yes. All right. So we are encouraging everyone to participate in this one. So we are actually also curious how many emails you've got. If it's more than 3 and you are maintaining that one every day, so that would really mean a lot of work for you. All right. So out of the 11, so this is actually our answers. Okay, so most of us, okay, so majority have still, no, we are in line with the average international standards when it comes to emails. We have like most of us still really maintain 2 emails. I for myself, I have like 2 emails that I really access every day. One is for my work, and the other one is for online transactions, and of course, for my social media. Thank you. And lastly, we have another one. So our third, okay, yes, our third question is, what is the main purpose for your use of an email? Okay, so it's mostly for work. Others use it for reference. I bet you are applying for a job or maybe looking for information online that needs an email. Okay, so for those 12 who answered, all right. So for those 12 who answered, majority, like 10 answer that they do it or they use their email for work and school purposes, others for online business and transactions. Most of the times nowadays, we actually make use of our emails, but we have the secondary login, which we could actually make use of our social media or maybe our phone numbers. That's why email is not really famous when it comes to doing online business transactions nowadays. But for some who really would want to maybe track properly, then they use their emails for business transactions. And of course, for reference purposes, which means you make use of that one as part of your login details for social media, or you're applying for a job. That's why you need your email. You open your email every day for that one. And of course, whenever you'd want to search or acquire information online, sometimes it makes use of your email. All right. So thank you everyone for that participation. So let's get down to business. All right. So this time, let us be ready with our checklist. If we are practicing or guilty of the 10 email etiquettes. A disclaimer on this one, I did not coin these etiquettes, but they are common ones found in several sites that my personal experience can relate to. I am sharing this to you, to everyone, so that we could be on the same boat in our email practice, or maybe you could be even better than me because among these 10, I am still guilty of some, but I am also an avid practitioner of the others. All right, so let our games begin, or maybe let's go to the first etiquette. So the first etiquette is subject line should be short, direct, and specific. So what does it mean? And in many cases, people decide to open an email based purely on the subject line. So it really has a big impact on how recipients perceive our email. If they see it short, direct, and specific, then they actually open our emails. Subject lines should preferably be 10 words or fewer. And if you can aim for a 7. So it's still a lucky 7 here. And by Marquito data, they proved that subject lines with 7 or fewer words get opened more, no? For as long as it gives them the more essential information. Always include a subject matter that concisely captures what your email is about. If your email is urgent or may need no immediate response, yes, you can include this in your subject line, but do this sparingly. Like we shouldn't be making this an excuse so that they would open right away your emails. So if your email isn't urgent, then you will only annoy people. And you will be like the boy who cried wolf. Like the next time you send an email, they will just take it lightly. Ah, si ganyan, nag-email na naman. Urgent, pero hindi naman talaga urgent, no? So, with that one, we have to use it sparingly, only if it's really urgent. So if you look at the examples below, the first one is not a very good subject line, even though it's short and direct, but it doesn't give us the complete essential set of information. Well, the second one is actually short, direct, and specific. Though it's urgent, it's really coined properly, and then it really just gives the date directly of the meeting. No? So this means actually that there's no need for that person to even read the whole 9 yards of the email. Even the subject line itself is already good information. All right. So let's go back to our main page, and then we go to our second etiquette. So our second etiquette is the use of proper salutation. So this time I would need your participation again. So salutations or greetings are hotly debated. That could be your main reason why you are here with us, because many argue that we should always use a formal greeting. So how do we think, or how do you think we should greet our recipients the proper way? So please give your answer. The poll will be shown, or another small window will pop up. Okay, so there you go. So what is the proper way of greeting your recipient? So we say, hi folks, dear sir, madam, because it sounds really formal. Greetings, Alfie, meaning greetings, and then the name of the recipient. And then we have dear Mr. Ramirez, or dear, and then the name of the recipient. All right. So for the others, there's no need to worry. We will know later if what we have been practicing is good, is the good or is the right way of proper salutation. Okay. For the others, maybe you could still catch up. All right. So we have 12 here. All right. So most of us think that the proper salutation should start with dear sir, madam, and we are actually used to that even with the written or the hard copy that we use for sending letters. So we also have greetings, Alfie, and then only one actually answered that, and then there's dear Mr. Ramirez with 5. Okay, so let's try to see if our choices are correct. All right. So first is, this actually depends on the recipient. So we have to think of who our recipient is. So if you are writing to a close colleague or one of your teammates in the project, an informal hi will likely be sufficient. But the author of the Essentials of Business Etiquette, Ms. Barbara Patcher, recommends avoiding any informal expressions like hey there or hi folks. Instead, we could use hi or hello to those who we are close to. Again, I reiterate, only to those who we are close to. When we are writing in a chain of emails or an email thread where the context has already been established in a prior email, or even through phone, we have talked about it maybe over a video conference or through phone, then it's fine to write with no greeting at all. I mean, most of us actually use this one, especially for email threads. We don't do our greetings anymore. Maybe a simple hi sometimes we'll do, but most of the times we just directly type our answers. And if you are writing to someone you don't know so well, so this is where it is. This is where the crucial thing comes. If you're not familiar with the person who will be receiving your email, like a new client or a potential boss because you're applying for a job, or a new coworker, then it's always a must to add a formal salutation and an introduction. Okay, and then there's more. Okay, so earlier, many actually answered that the best way is to use dear sir, madam, when in fact, we have to steer away from overly formal greetings like dear sir, madam. Why is that? No, we may find it formal, but um, first, these expressions may not reflect a person's gender. We are not sensitive on that kind of issue in this salutation. Second, they failed to mention the receiver's name, making them impersonal. This is such a no-no for cold emailing. So cold emailing, which means you're actually like not really randomly, but you have a list of who you'd want to email to, maybe for marketing or advertising or even job hunting. It suggests you haven't done proper research on the prospect. So why would they consider your email? No? So in general, you can start a formal business email with any of these greetings. Dear, hello, hi, greetings, good morning, good evening, with the recipient's name placed after the greeting. So I have here at the bottom of the slides some of the good or the proper way of doing salutations. Okay, so regardless, your greeting sets the tone for your email. So if it's already like a bad tone, salutation pa lang, we have to choose it wisely, no? So at this season, it's not just also just voting wisely, but because we're dealing with emails every day, we have to choose our greetings or our salutations wisely. All right, so we proceed to our third, our our third, our third etiquette for emails. We should keep our emails brief and concise while conveying essential information. The previous one, we were talking about the subject matter or the title of our emails. This time, we are talking of the main content of our email. So according to research, the magic number is 50 to 200 words. No, so this isn't like a novel or maybe a blog. So this should also be brief and concise. Some emails may be shorter and some longer, but as a general rule, the shorter it is, the better. What's important is you have conveyed the important information. Save the niceties for face-to-face talks or maybe in social media because you are already so acquainted with each other. People today receive a lot of emails. So it's our way actually of respecting them, respecting their time by cutting out unnecessary wordiness. And then you could just follow because I am just like talking with all the tips for this particular etiquette. You can save a lot of time as the one sending the email or creating the email. You could save a lot of time typing if you replace wordy phrases with more efficient alternatives. So you could just cut out on the wordiness. We can cut down a large number to just making use of the word many or use simply the word now instead of at present. No, so these are just flowery words when in fact we could just use and be direct with one word. Now, um, this is also something that sometimes you get guilty of because we're so used to social media. We always use the shortcuts, and then we have the tendency to bring it to our email. So we could actually make use of shorthand only to people we know or only to people we are used to sending emails. If you are writing to your own team about a project that you have been discussing, then you can write short, instructive emails with a list of bullet points. Yeah. So for sure, because of the familiarity, they know what you mean with those bulleted points. And this means they can quickly understand the task, and it's far easier to read on a smartphone because going back to our previous results, 50% of the time we usually access it through our smartphones. So having these short and concise emails with the use of the shorthand is actually convenient. If you don't have a pre-existing relationship with the recipient, so again, it goes back to the recipient. If the recipient is unfamiliar, then we need to build one first. We need to build like a communication relationship first before writing or being casual when it comes to shorthand emails. If we are unsure, no, if we are unsure, if we are in doubt, we then should type the email in full. So I hope we have gotten some tips on those 4 tips for etiquette number 3. Now on our 4th etiquette. So our 4th etiquette is we should consider our email tone. Okay, so how does it sound? How does our recipient feel when they read our emails? So hitting the right tone over an email is quite difficult. The more difficult it is when you are the one to interpret it. The American Psychological Association revealed that email writers overestimate the recipient's capabilities of identifying an email tone. We tend to assume, mga assuming, no? Most of us assume that our recipients get it right or um, understood it right the way we wrote it. 80%, we assume that 80% of our recipients have gotten it right, when only 56% of them identify the tone right. So it's not actually the majority who who interprets it right when it comes to tone. So this implies that we have to carefully think of the words that we use and how we set the tone of our email. So here are some ways to do it. So first is we should avoid sarcasm. The recipient may not understand and take it the wrong way. So sarcasm in any way, no, is really a no-no because it will just make more a misunderstanding. And then the second would be careful when using humor. Yeah, we tend to be casual. If we tend to be casual, especially in face-to-face dealings or maybe over our video conference, we might be able to do that for those we are familiar with. Without the corresponding, what's difficult with the email is without the corresponding facial expressions or tone of voice, any humor used over email can easily get lost in translation. In fact, it is really better to rather leave all forms of humor off professional email exchanges unless you know the receiver very well. You have been exchanging emails for quite some time. Also, something you find personally funny might not be remotely amusing to someone else. No, so it doesn't mean that it's funny to you, that it could be funny to someone else. And in some cases, a humor can even you can even seem rude or maybe hurtful. So when in doubt, it's best to leave it out. And then the next tip is consider cultural differences. Okay, so we have to consider cultural differences. We have to be aware that funny sayings or maybe slang may be completely misconstrued by overseas recipients. I mean, friends we have overseas or clients we have overseas, that may not sound funny or that may not go well with them. At worst, you could insult them at best. You can make them feel confused or left out. So it can very easily lead to miscommunication due to cultural differences, especially when your recipients can see your facial. Again, it goes back to not seeing your facial expression or body language. If possible, it's a good idea to customize your message to the cultural context of your chosen recipient. So we have to be quite careful. Then we have this one. I could relate to this one. I have been practicing this one for quite some time. Okay. Um, I don't respond to an email when I'm emotional. Okay, so what does that mean? Odds are we are you might have had you might be in a similar situation, or you know of someone in a similar situation, and really it's easy to fire off an email in anger. You could actually compose right away very quickly, but things really turn out but things rarely, no, it doesn't turn out well. Once you've written the words and sent the email, it cannot be undone. So take a step back, compose yourself, maybe ask an advice from someone, or sleep on it. No, I will just send the email tomorrow. I will just compose the email tomorrow when I'm okay. My mind is already okay. You'll come back refreshed and with a clear mind, ready to craft a balanced and professional email without the emotions involved. Lastly, okay, this one. Um, Most of the times, no, we have the tendency to hopefully read our emails aloud first before sending it. Okay, so how is that done? So if it comes across as negative or rude to you, if you find or if you hear yourself saying it's not a good tone, it will definitely be perceived that way by your reader or by your recipient. If you want positive results, remember your basic manners. Say please and thank you. So I hope this is actually this etiquette is quite meaty, you know, considering your email tone, because uh, it actually goes through so many things to consider. No, so hopefully we would be able to use this one. And then there are already apps that would help us in trying to set the tone. So the one that we have on screen is actually Grammarly, and it actually rates us. It's more of a text analyzer. It actually rates our set of texts when it comes to um, toning or considering the tone of our email. Let's proceed to our fifth. So we're already halfway our 10 netiquettes, or sorry, 10 email etiquettes. So the fifth one is be wary of exclamation points, emoticons or emojis, and all or using capital letters. Okay, so I think most of you are familiar with this one. If you are a user of social media, you are actually a user of a lot of emoticons or emojis, but we have two elements here, the exclamation point and the use of all capital letters. If you are in the habit of using exclamation points, be careful to limit them when expressing your enthusiasm or maybe your excitement, because some people tend to overuse this punctuation mark and end up using several exclamation points in a span of few sentences. We have a tendency to say, congratulations with 3 exclamation points. And this may make the writer sound overly eager or even immature. And we have to use them sparingly only when it is really appropriate. So if you'd want to say congratulations with an exclamation point, we might not make it 3, no? Okay lang na isa. Okay. And then we have think before you click the emojis. Okay. So can we really use emojis when we are dealing with the email? I myself am tempted to do so, especially if I find I want to have like to give an impression that I am okay or I am fine. I am tempted to place my smile emojis there. With the increase of email and text communications, it's impossible to see facial expressions again. So people add smiley. Yes, that's what I was saying earlier, that I would want them to know that I am fine with a smiley to soften the email. However, in a study in 2017, sorry, it showed that this could make the sender appear incompetent. And it depends on the norm in your organization and your office or your workplace. But be mindful of when and who to use or sending the emojis to. Again, you have to consider who your recipients are. If you're sending them to people you know well and you know will understand what you're trying to say, because they know that it's classic you that would place an emoji after each sentence, then it's fine. But if not, then consider if they're really needed. If they are, again, if they're unfamiliar people to you, then consider if they're really needed. Okay, so in here we could actually make use of them, but again, it boils down to we have to consider our recipients. And lastly, the last tip for this particular etiquette is don't capitalize your letters. No matter how urgent your email is, or you'd want to emphasize that particular phrase, it will look aggressive because it's like shouting over email. I mean, everyone knows, especially if you're used to using the chat, no? If it's actually all capital letters in the at the back of my mind, I read it as really shouting, no? So it's the same. It's the same for our emails. All right. So for our sixth etiquette, our sixth etiquette is always proofread before hitting the send button. So occasionally, spelling or grammar mistake is unavoidable and maybe excusable. It can be excused. But if it's all over the place, no, then it's a problem. It will make you look unprofessional, and you don't care about your job or about coining or creating that email. So it's definitely not a good image to portray among colleagues and clients, and most especially to your boss. So proofread every email before sending, especially those longer ones. It also doesn't hurt to have a fellow colleague give your email the once over. You could ask a colleague to review it for you, and don't be shy or maybe too proud that you know it all, to use tools like Grammarly to catch any errors, just like the one um, that you see on the screen. So there are already Grammarly is not just for there are a lot of things that you could do with Grammarly. It could actually analyze the tone of your text. It could also definitely help you out with your grammar and with your mistakes, especially when using or when you have your email. So most of the times nowadays, our own emails have this spell checker and grammar checker as well, but we should not rely on them. No, so we have two other choices. We could make use of another software such as Grammarly, or we could have a real person review it for us. Okay, so we're actually almost done. Um, I'm curious also if there are things earlier that you were surprised about or maybe can relate to. All right. So our seventh etiquette is to add a professional email signature. So everyone, or maybe some of you have already received emails with this one. For myself, I have made my own email signature, but without the picture. But I'm quite compelled to actually make use of a picture because you see, my name is Alfie, and most of the times they address me as Mr. or they would assume that I am a guy. So I'm quite compelled to actually edit my email signature and place also maybe my face so that they would just know that I'm not um I'm not a boy, that I'm a girl, and they could actually should avoid calling me with a Mr. or yeah, referring me as a Mr. So in here, no, so what are the essentials for an email signature? So you have full name, the title, and you have, and then company name and your contact information. So those are the essentials. You could add more information, but we should not get overboard with artworks, links, slogans, or quotes. No, so I have also had the chance to also receive email signatures with all those. Okay, so usually, no, you can add a little. You should keep also your font and color theme, your font type and text color the same as the rest of your email setting to set a professional tone. So it shouldn't be too colorful, but it should be like laid back or maybe minimalistic in a sense. Okay, so you could actually do that if you have like a Gmail email, no? Your email is with Gmail, you could just click on the settings button, and then at the lower portion in there, you could insert your own email signature. So hopefully we will have our own sessions of that one for our next maybe next Saturday sessions. Okay, so our eighth etiquette, for our eighth etiquette, this is something maybe that you can relate to. Okay, we add the email address after the message is composed. Okay, I have practiced this one for so many, like not really so many years, but maybe the last 5 years, I have already practiced this one. I don't place the email right away before beginning composing the email or the content. I type the content first. I do all the necessary edits, proofreading, all of those things before I place the email in the to field or wherever it is, or place the email for the recipient. So if you want to avoid accidentally sending an email before you finish typing and proofreading the message, it is a good and safety measure to type out your email first, then add the email address of the recipient when you are ready to send the message. So another good tip for this one is the use of email fields properly. So we usually see 3 spaces above our content. It's the to space. So the to space there is for the email address of the person, and it's this field is the one that's used by everyone. So included in there are the email addresses of the persons you are emailing. We have the CC or the carbon copy. So don't you overuse this field as you're unnecessarily cluttering people's inboxes. If they are not involved or they won't be able to be informed or gain something out of the email, please do not include them in the CC portion. If use it in the following instances: when the information in the email is relevant to the intended recipient and you want to keep them updated, then you can include them in the CC space. When you want to make the email more of a priority, like for example, you would want to CC, or you want to CC your boss because you'd also want your boss to know about it. So you can also place it there so that um, someone higher up in the company could actually see or read your email. Another one is helping your coworker who is on vacation, and you would want to try to help him or her be on the loop or in the loop. So that means you also, even if he or she is on vacation, he is still tagged, or maybe, yes, you use the CC so that he or she could still um, see the email. And the last one for the fields is the BCC, or the blind carbon copy. So in here, use BCC if you want to protect people's emails from being exposed without their permission. So this is actually the use of the BCC, not mga secret, but it's more of trying to protect the person's email address. Um, if you're one great example of this one, if you're sending a company newsletter, so you could actually either make use of a blind carbon copy, or you could do, if your email app already has its own mail merge, you could actually also use that to make it more personalized. And then email tip: if you think a BCC recipient may reply to an email with reply all, use CC instead. And double check, lastly, the last tip for this one is to double check the recipient's address. No? So do your best to be accurate and pay particular attention when you type a name from your contacts list onto the to line. I don't know if you have been a victim to this one. Um, you just um, you just blindly just type, and you thought that was the person, but you have sent it to the wrong person. It's unfortunately very easy to choose the wrong name, which can be embarrassing because for you and the person receiving the email by accident. So in here, we only have very few seconds to actually delete our email, or yeah, it's not we're not as fortunate as using the chat, that we could really remove our statements. No, so we have to double check the recipients of our emails. Okay, so we're down to our last two. At number 9, we should use reply all correctly. I know many of us could relate to this one. Why am I seeing all this thread when I don't even care? No? So use the reply all correctly. Bear in mind that you're only communicating to the people you need to communicate to. It could really be annoying to be copied into every email, or to see every response in a chain, especially if it's not relevant to you as a recipient. So when you click on reply, you respond to only one person, or that specific set of people, either the original sender when responding to the first message, or another recipient when replying to any message in the email thread. But when you click reply all, you email everyone included in the to and the CC fields. So that means you are actually not just replying to those in the to fields, but also in the CC fields. Only ever use reply all if you feel that your response is important and everyone should know. Like, for example, you've fixed an important issue the email raised. So that means everyone should know that the problem is solved. So you have to click on reply all. If you're thanking a specific person, you're better off just replying to that person, not hitting on reply all. Again, when in doubt, use just reply and not reply all. Okay, so we're down to our last etiquette. Actually, if you look into other etiquettes, there are so many out there, but these are just 10 that I had gathered, and these are the common ones. So the last one is that we have to reply to our emails promptly. I'm quite guilty of this one because we might be receiving a lot of emails in a day that we can't have the time of day, or we can't have the time to even reply to all. So ideally, we should respond to emails immediately. But with the bulk that we are receiving every day and the backlog from yesterday's or last week's, my gosh, it's always impossible to do so. Thus, you'll need to make like a judgment call on what to prioritize when it comes to um, sending your reply. Okay, so for instance, if your emails are from your immediate team and will take priority over those from other departments, it should take priority from those from other departments. You have to respond within 12 hours. And then if your emails are from all other colleagues, it should be responded within 24 hours. Okay. And if your email is from your CEO, of course, your boss, it should take preference. You should take preference over other, it should take preference over other emails. So you have to reply or respond faster than 12 hours. Okay. And emails related to urgent projects should take priority. It should actually be similar to maybe your team's email. So because it's an urgent project, it should be within 12 hours. And for emails, okay, for emails for less urgent matters, with less urgent matters, it could be attended to within 4 days. Even if it's like less urgent, then it should be within the week. Within the week, you have to be able to reply to the email. If you're having trouble getting to longer emails, because really there are still long emails, send a quick reply acknowledging that you have received the email and that you will go back to it within a few days, or send your reply within a few days. All right. So all right. So all interaction is visible to those who can't access the inbox. If you have like a shared inbox, nowadays we have what you call a shared inbox. You could actually make use of that one, especially for team projects or team collabs. No, so you could actually make use of that kind of technology. All right. So that's it for me for all the etiquettes. These are my references. Okay. And we can spare a few minutes for questions. Do we have questions?
Ma'am, we have questions here in the chat box, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So caricature of digital picture, is it okay if I could put a caricature of a digital picture on my email signature? Most of the time, if it's a digital picture or caricature, it could actually represent like maybe the logo of your company or something like that. Better yet, or it could be like it could be something that represents you, but it's really not that formal if it's just for the sake of showing it. No, so yes, you could still have that one. You could still have that one for maybe a trademark for you if you are already, if you're still not working. But if you are working, then might as well have, if you're using that one for professional and business emails, then make use of your company's logo of an email. Is it okay if all in capital letters? No, for capital letters, it applies for all, even in subject lines. No, so it's like shouting at first glance. No, so when you see, I know maybe for us we might have the intention of making it seen to our recipients right away without even thinking that it's actually shouting. No, so um we could actually stop that practice. No, that's stop that practice of placing all caps. Okay, how about in bold letters? Sometimes we could actually have it in bold letters for emphasis, but again, for all of the letters to be in bold letters, that's again another thing, no? So it's not, it doesn't set the tone right if you have it all in bold letters. As space is considered in writing to always create hyperlinks or a shortened link than the original link. Okay, so most of the times, yeah, there are already, we could actually have, we could already have hyperlinks, or these are some um, reply tips, no? So when there's really that reply of just for that particular thread, so that you would there's that mechanism so that not all of the thread could actually be seen, no? So you could actually go into that or maybe apply that one so that you won't see the whole 9 yards of the thread, only some portions that's applicable to you. Others. Okay. Okay, so I hope I have already answered most of your questions. Okay, so yes, instant reply is fine for as long as you're actually um um it's actually the tone of the instant reply. If it's something that is really needed instantly, then it's totally fine. I mean, if it's like a group thread, then it's totally fine. Yeah, an instant reply to a very formal email could mean you must be able to set the tone in a way that it would be professional, no? Still professional and businesslike, um, especially during outside office hours. Here it is, no? So instant reply is okay. If are you talking of like out of office reply? Yeah, the out of office reply. That is actually a very good practice for as long as when you are in the office, you try, because most of us, there are times when we forget to turn off our out of office reply even if we're already in the office, no? So again, we have to set it in a way that, like, for example, um you don't want to cater to your emails over the weekend. Then it's fine if you place your out of office replies and then turn it off when Monday comes because you're back in the office. Okay. So other questions before we end? Actually, someone messaged me if is there a way to remove our message the way we remove our chats or our messages or the things we post in a chat. Um, Unfortunately, we only have 30 seconds to remove our our email so that it won't be sent to our recipient. No, I'm talking for Gmail. No, it's only the maximum time for retrieving it before being sent to our recipient is just 30 seconds. Okay. Okay. For email attachments. Okay. For email attachments, we could have like one or two or maybe three, but if there are so many attachments, all we have to do is place it in a folder and give a link, place it in the drive and give or provide a link. No, so um, even in our attachments, if it's over this number of KB, then it automatically goes to our Google Drive or our Drive, and then it gives only the link. So better if we have so many attachments, then it's better to organize it in a folder and then just give access to the person so that he or she could access all the files in the folder. All right. Other questions? I think there are none. Okay, so before we go, we have one last um, survey or just question for everyone to answer. So I hope this is actually just looking at are there things that maybe you have picked out on this session for the afternoon. So kindly. All right. So this is our last question. Among the 10 email etiquettes, which one will you practice the next time you open your email? Those that you aren't practicing yet and are included, or it is included in this 10 etiquettes, which one would you practice the next time you will be making your or creating your own email? Sige. Others, we would know that there's really one etiquette that you would really vow to practice the next time have to like open your email. All right. So 13 have replied, and this is something, no? So maybe we really think that emails should be long, or we could actually express everything out in the email, such that many would want to keep emails brief and concise. Yes, the next time you would have to set your email or create your email, make sure it is brief and concise. All right, so that's it for me for the afternoon. Thank you very much for the time. No, thank you very much, and hope to see you in another session.
Okay. Thank you, Mom Alf. That was interesting and very informative, and I hope everyone were able to get that and use it and apply it in our daily work. And also shout out to our sponsor for our t-shirts, and Dr. Mariano Lau. Thank you very much, sir. And he also the reason why we have lots of training. So then shall we proceed to the next portion of our webinar? Uh, Allow me to read the citation. Silliman University, Dr. Mariano Lau Free Computer Education Program Certificate of Recognition presented to Assistant Professor Alfie Curasalo for sharing her valuable knowledge as resource speaker during the Dr. Mariano Lau ICI Free Computer Education with the topic Email Etiquette. Given the second day of April in the year of our Lord 2022, signed by our very own project leader and director of SOUL, Dr. Dave E. Marshall. Let's give Ma'am Alfie a virtual applause. Thank you, Ma'am Alf. Okay, there you go. At this juncture, our team here will be sending you the link in the chat box for you to have and fill out the evaluation form for today's training. It's there in the chat box. And also for those who cannot access the link, you may chat your full name in the chat box for you to have the certificate. Okay. I also would love to invite everybody for the upcoming webinar scheduled at SU Dr. Mariano Lau Free Computer Education program every Saturday at exactly 2 p.m. So our complete list of topics will be posted at our Facebook page, and also you can see there our Facebook page at Dr. Mariano Lau Free Computer Education. At this moment, I'd like to ask everybody to open their camera for photo opportunity together with our resource speaker, Ma'am Alfie. Let's wait for the others to turn on their cameras. Okay, let us show our best smile in count of 1, 2, 3. Smile. Hold your smile, please. Next slide. Oh, no, wala na din. Next slide. Okay, that's the last one. Again, please don't forget to fill out the evaluation form for today's training.